video. I hope you are doing well. Today's video, I'm going to be talking about selling yourself short. What do I mean? Listen up and I'll tell you more about it. So here we go, let's go. The reason why I've called this selling yourself short is because I've had experiences in my own life and in my circle of friendships where I feel like people have sold themselves short. By that I mean in general, just seeing that they're thinking that they're less than what they actually are, and because of that they portray themselves as less than in society, to people, in their jobs, in their relationships, friend groups, etc. And that is not good. An example for me, I think, was I sold myself short a lot of the times in terms of the roles that I got in jobs. I would just be like, as long as they want me, at least they want me, even if sometimes I wasn't really comfortable in that job or didn't want that job in itself. I would actually be like, no, you know what, at least they wanted me, at least they wanted me, so it's fine. And even if sometimes the role itself, the amount of money wasn't what I really wanted, I wouldn't fight back and be like, no, actually I think I'm worth this, or I think I require this, or this is my demands. I always felt like they were the prize, and I was just kind of like, I would accept what I was given. And I think a lot of us are going through life like this, thinking that at least even if I get the bare minimum, at least I'm getting something. And I don't think we should be thinking like that at all. We should be looking at ourselves as valuable, as that we are worthy, that we're enough, and that we don't need any approval. We don't need approval from others, but the main approval is from ourselves and believing in ourselves. So I've had this in so many situations. Obviously, I've given you an example about my own life, but in friendship groups where I've just been like, you deserve so much more, like I've told them, like, you deserve so much more, but at the time, in hindsight, they can't see it, which is fine because we're all on a journey. We're healing, we're transforming, and we don't always see it in that time and period. But the main important thing is to value yourself, because when you sell yourself short, you will get the short end of the stick. You will get less than. Let's say you're in the job market, you're looking for a job, and you see a job, you like that job, and you go to the job interview, it goes well, they want you, and they're like, we were willing to offer you this amount. You know within yourself that this is very much less than what I require. Like, this job, I have a massive amount of experience. I know my things. Like, I have certifications, I have this, I have that, I have a degree, and what they're giving you is bare minimum in terms of just the wage, and the salary that they're trying to offer you is probably a beginner level. And that's fine. When you're a beginner level, sometimes you will go for jobs like that for experience, so then you can get to know what you want to do, etc. And that's fine. But sometimes when you know yourself, that you've had the experience, you have the certifications, that you've added education, you've added more knowledge about the subject area that you work in, you know your value, and you know that you deserve a lot more. So what would you do in that situation? Would you take the role because you want a new role and I just want a new role right now? Or do you wait and continue to look for a different role that will give you what you need in terms of salary expectations? What would you do in that situation? Old me would have taken the role. Yes, I would have. I would have been like, yes, of course I would come for you, even though I'm like being paid massively way less than I am, qualified to do. And in that situation, many of these roles, what they will do is they will snap you up. They will literally call you the next day, like, we want you. You're amazing. You're great. And you think, wow, oh God, it must have been so good. And you probably were. You're amazing. But also they know they're undervaluing you, and therefore they need to get you to say yes, because they've just saved themselves X amount of money for the whole year now, because they've been able to get someone in lesser salary than the actual salary that you should have been paid. So in a way, they're winning. And a lot of places are like eager and they want you, and that's what they do. Unfortunately, some places are like that. Not all places. Some are situation like you have the choice to choose. Do you undervalue yourself, or do you actually go back and say, thank you so much for that offer, but I do believe with my experience and my expertise, I require a lot more in terms of salary wise. If you actually want that role but the salary isn't great, could you negotiate? Say, I see that the salary is this. Is there room for bonuses? Is there room for reviews every year? Would there be opportunities for me to grow, to develop, so that I can get to a increased wage? You can always do that, but I always say negotiate. Don't sit back at that salary. Don't sit back and be like, this is what I'm being given, so that's fine. No, I want you to understand that this is about you. This is for you. This is not about other people. You need to be the one that chooses what you want in your life. And sometimes that can be the hard decision of just saying, no, actually, I don't want to take this role on because I'm being undervalued and I'm getting the short end of the stick. And you have to sometimes stand up for yourself in those situations where you feel like, no, I'm being undervalued and I know my worth. And too many times I've seen it in the workplace where people are undervalued, and a lot of those times it is difficult because most workplaces don't want you to discuss how much salary everyone is getting paid. So you don't know who's getting paid what, unless someone divulge, but rarely do people divulge, especially in the UK. A lot of us are very clutched pearls when it comes to speaking about salary. Sometimes you just have to be bold and stick up for yourself. And I just want to encourage someone that might be in a situation where you're like, I'm in a situation in life where I don't know what to do. I kind of want to move out of this place, but I feel like I'm undervalued in this relationship, in this position, in this job role, in this opportunity. Sometimes it's about making that opportunity for yourself, and sometimes that's by being vocal and speaking. I'm very much want to advocate for myself. This from my own experience. I remember being offered a role. It was less than what I'd actually wanted, and I said no. I was like, unfortunately, this is not the role for me. I said, would you be able to, match the salary to the one that I've seen in other places? And they were like, no, unfortunately we can't, which is fine because businesses have a budget too, and you have to be understanding. There's budgets there to work around, but there's sometimes they do try and be cheeky and just try and get you less for more. So especially if you know your worth and what you've actually put into yourself, the studying, the opportunity that you've allowed yourself to be a part of, don't let that fall to the ground and be wasted, especially for a place where sometimes you'll go and be undervalued and not be treated well, and then you realize that this is not the place for me. So if they're already willing to kind of undervalue in that first stage, you also have to question, will they continue to do so once you continue in that job? So I just want to encourage you that don't undervalue yourself. You're worth it, you're enough, and you have all the things that you need for whatever opportunity and also any change that you want to see in your life. You can do this, you have this, you've got this. And thank you so much for watching. As always, do like, comment, subscribe below. Let me know if you've had any situations where this has happened to you, where you've been like, I've been undervalued here, and you've been given the short end of the stick. Let me know. Once again, I'll see you